Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. A lot of people ask the question, we'd like to know more about solo launching and solo landing a boat. You know, a lot of times you're gonna go to the ramp, it's just you. Maybe your family's busy, you're trying to get the boat in the water. Maybe you're a fisherman, you're going fishing by yourself that day. Today in this video, we're gonna show you some tips and tricks that we've learned over the years how to get your boat in the water by yourself. Let's get into it. So one of the first things I recommend when you get to your local loading ramp here, when you're getting ready to splash your boat, make sure you park your boat in this pre-marked staging area. Don't park your boat into an active loading zone. You're gonna make people mad if they're trying to launch and load. Come up to the front, disconnect your chains, both your cable and also your winch strap. Come back to the back, disconnect your tie downs. Make sure your drain plugs are in. Yamaha guys, make sure your clean out plugs are fully seated. I've already checked these here. Do a quick walk around. Make sure there's nothing else needs to come off before you get on the boat. Let's jump on board. All right, next step, come inside the boat. If they're not already on, flick your batteries into the on position. Come up to the helm. Turn on your bilge blower switch. Or not your bilge blower, your fan blower. So this is going to evacuate any fumes out of the inside of the engine compartment. Do not start your engine yet. Let that ventilate for a second. While that's happening, grab your dock lines. Go ahead and secure those to your cleats. Get them ready. All right, it's super important. Fenders. Go ahead and get them out on the boat. Don't forget this step. It's important to have 3 of these out. Learn the importance of that watching some of our other videos. We've done this the wrong way before. So put 3 fenders out. All right, dock lines are out, fenders are out. Fan's been running for a while. Let's go ahead and test fire the engines. Don't wait until you're in the water to do this. Go ahead and do that right now while you're out of the water. Turn on the ignition. Engine starts fine. Engine starts fine. All right, so now that we know our engines are gonna start, we can go ahead and proceed with our launch. All right, we're gonna splash the boat now. This first splash, we're actually going to power off. So traditional depth, just powering off under engine power. It's important to know your boat. You need to know when your boat is floating, but it's not gonna slide away from you, so you don't lose it at this step. If you feel uncomfortable with this, leave that winch strap attached. See how my boat just slid a little bit? So I know I'm right where I need to be. Put the boat in park and set your emergency brake. Also important, wear some shoes. These things can be really jagged sometimes with trash and things. Make sure you're not walking barefoot. Our boat slid a little bit. I can give it a little shove just to make sure it's gonna move. It is moving, so I'm gonna go ahead and step on. This is critical. At this point, a lot of people are gonna be watching you and ready to get their boat in the water, so move quickly. Try to move with purpose. At this point, we're gonna power off and just go over, find a spot on the dock, tie up, and go get our vehicle out of the way as quickly as possible. All right, boat's tied up. We're gonna park our vehicle. All right, we successfully solo launched. Now let's solo recover. For most boat ramps, what I have found, especially with Yamaha boats, but this is probably applicable to most boats, that when you back your trailer into the water, you want your fenders, the tip of your front fender, the forwardmost fender, just lapping at the surface of the water, kind of like that right there. Do you see that? That's an indicator that you are at the proper depth. That won't always be the case with every boat ramp, for most boat ramps, we found that's the proper depth. Let's go grab our boat. We gotta move quickly. Before I leave the dock, it's important to say, if you notice when I disconnected my dock lines, I disconnected the bow first, then I climbed on board, I started my engines, and then I disconnected the stern line. It's important, you don't want to disconnect your boat from the dock until you know you've got power. Note your winds as you're approaching your trailer. The winds are going to play a role in how your boat approaches, so be cautious. In this situation, I got kind of a narrow ramp, so I don't have a lot of choice, but it will dictate how fast I come in. If I've got a strong wind, I'll come in a little faster, so I get to the trailer sooner without drifting too much. Also remember, approach slow. Don't approach fast. Never approach any fixed object faster than you want to hit it. I got a little bit out of control here. Approach slow. Once you've gotten your boat kind of in position, power up as long as they permit that. Once you feel like you've reached the stop, kill your power and go secure your winch strap. It's also really important to talk about a step. If you don't have one, get you a step for the front of your boat. This is difficult to do by yourself if you don't have this step. Regardless of what company you buy it from, if your boat didn't come equipped with one, get you one. Notice my winch has two winch handle connection points. One's a high RPM, low torque, and one's a low RPM, high torque. When you've got this thing on by yourself and you're kind of sitting shallow like this, it's best to use the high torque setting. Winch until you see the toe eye touching the roller. Do not over torque because this thing can break. Just get it nice and firm. And once you've got it home, connect your chain. The goal is to get out of the water as quickly as possible so you're not keeping others from being able to launch your load. And we'll pull her out. All right, well, that's solo launching with power unloading. So there are also places that you're going to go to that tell you it's important that you do not power off the trailer. They tell you that you cannot do that because you don't want to degrade or erode the floor of the launch ramp. So we're going to show it this time around with us just simply removing the boat off the trailer with dock lines or floating it off. All right, at this point, we got the boat floating. We've still got the strap attached. Before we get out of the vehicle, make sure you set your parking brake. We're going to run back. We're going to release the tension on the strap, but we're not going to disconnect at this point. It's also important, notice how I'm holding onto the handle here. This thing can run on you, so be careful it doesn't hit your hands. It can start spinning quickly. All right, so I have fed off a pretty good amount of strap here, but I'm gonna leave the winch strap connected, but it's not latched, so it can run, all right? Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go put a dock line out on one of the piles, connect to the boat, and then we'll back the boat down a little further so we can pull it off. And just to be cautious, I'm gonna add one more line back here on my stern, just so the boat's not swinging around. I may back up a little bit and give it a little bit of brakes. So I back up, jam the brakes, the boat will slide a little bit. Sometimes that's good because it may still be on the trailer a little bit more than we want it to be. Remember to disconnect your strap. We left that connected as a safety. Now, if you notice on this pass, we don't have our fenders out, but we're at a really great ramp that has a lot of protection already there. If you have a dock that has a lot of oyster shells or kind of rough spaces there, you might go ahead and put your fenders out before you try this. Either way, you notice we pulled away, the boat is secured. Next step, fire up the engines and get this thing out of the slip as fast as you can to allow others to go ahead and launch their boat. Again, we'll start our engine while we're still tied up. Now that the engine's started, we can go ahead and disconnect our dock line here. And we'll go ahead and motor away. All right, so now let's talk about solo landing without power. Gonna do what we just did in reverse. Pull up as close as you can to the ramp. Have your fenders out if you're in a rough spot. On a Yamaha, you can go ahead and kill your power because you're gonna have a little crawl here. Now what's permissible here is you can land your boat on the trailer, but you can't power it up in some places. So once we get it landed, we're not gonna power up, we're gonna kill the power, connect our winch strap, and winch ourselves up. We'll kill our power. Because my boat is so shallow right now, I'm gonna go back it down a little bit more so that it's a little bit easier for me to winch this thing up. Be cautious not to trap that between the wheel and the hull. Winch it all the way to the eye. Now we're good. We'll pull her out. All right. Well, that's solo launching both power and also unpowered. Hopefully this video gives you some confidence that you can solo launch by yourself. Again, it's super critical when you're getting to a boat ramp like this. If you're in a super busy place, move quickly. Try to be conscientious of other people trying to get out on the water. Maybe it's better to do this when it's not so busy on your first try. Come out sometime, maybe when it's quiet, you're not busy, you can get this kind of mastered. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot to think about. Watch this video several times, get familiar with it. I've also shown you, I want to reiterate, it's important. Leave your dock lines connected. Before you leave the dock, turn the power on. Make sure that the engine's going to start. Then you disconnect your lines. These things and much more are all helpful hints that you're going to find solo launching your boat. If you have questions about this process, hit us in the comments below. Be glad to answer those questions for you. And if you like this video, check this one out.